video you got?
And Betty.
This is a cannon. Isn't that neat how small it is? It's amazing.
Having a time, they don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
Idalo, this is Sergeant Bob.
We'll find her.
And ask him, you know.
You want to take a look at it?
And then with her in the
It's up.
wheelchair,
She actually recorded that. He recorded that.
Yeah.
Particularly the reunion they had down in Ebensee.
There were hardly any parking places.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, we're going to turn this off.
You're gonna make all these people look nervous.
Yeah.
Simply, just happened to run into the town of Gemund and then down into Austria, the beautiful Alp Mountains. So, they've reported a concentration camp there, so we actually liberated it that same day. Yes.
And how was Max's English?
How was Max?
Yeah.
Max, yes, very good.
Was it
because
really?
I could understand his English and ask him for a cigarette.
This was the tank Max Bob was riding.
That's my picture.
Oh, that's the thing. Is one of them you?
Yes, that's
Oh my
him.
goodness.
That's him. And this is what he saw.
What was your tank called? The Lady?
Lady Luck.
Lady Luck.
This is what he saw.
Oh my goodness.
And this,
Wow.
And this is a letter he wrote to his home. This is how I found him. This is how that letter. This is his friend. Also. This is yeah. And this is his letter he wrote.
two tanks with him. He was a commander of one and I was a commander of the other tank.
And this was the letter he wrote, you know, what he saw in his station camp.
So you saw this man when you were liberated?
Yes, and I was looking for him for 45 years. And yeah, this is how I remember him. This is how he was. I can never forget my life.
Yes, isn't that
I carry this. Yeah, I have this from Bob, but this tank I can never forget. Never. I saw many tanks, but this one.
Who would ever thought that you'd meet the person?
I was lying for over 50 years, saying jokingly, one day I'm going to meet my liberator. And in his book, in Ami's book, I read that there are 16.5 million American soldiers in the Second World War. And I met Bob. And he was willing to come to Arlington Heights where I live. And I met him through his friend who's now in hospital. And we are discussing, you know, my liberation, the max liberation. What coincidence?
Did you have any other pictures here?
I think I do. Oh, I think this is the Army. The Army invited. Yeah,
This is our reunion pictures.
This is the reunion pictures from Troy.
Such a nice book together.
Well, I have mountains.
Is there a picture of Dick Pamonte in there?
Yeah, there is a picture of Dick here.
Yes, here's
Maybe you
this
see some of
picture.
his
Yes,
pictures.
this is a picture.
This is when we were up after the war was over and General Patton come to talk to us.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
at Lake Kamer, and we were on this boat. This is me, and this is my friend Dick Pomani.
On the article in one of the books of 3rd Cavalry, I think that
Yes.
picture's there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. This is the picture. This is page 193. Never forget.
Ah,
I have mountains of books in 5 different languages. And the line for some questions, you know, how many liberations are? Our libraries are full. Some
I
has
think
to
it's
read.
a miracle that those of you that survived are alive because they could
We
have
owe
been killed.
this. We owe this to those who didn't survive. I was carrying in Merrick, April 45. I was carrying dynamite on my shoulder to a small room 6 by 6 feet to blow us out.
Yes.
And do you know why not? The German general refused to sign to blow us. When I asked God, how do I deserve to be alive? You know, maybe this is the answer to tell today you listen to this.
Yeah, we have met in our reunion since then, probably 15 survivors of the concentration camp of Ebensee.
This was last weekend. This was the army celebrating last weekend.
Yes, I know.
And how
I
old
was
were
afraid.
you when you
Well,
liberated?
let's see. I must have been about 23. I was 19 and a half when I went into service. No, I wasn't threatened.
You were born 24. I know exactly, but
Pardon?
you were born 24. I was 22.
I was born September 29th, 1923.
That's right.
Yeah, now 79. I just had a birthday last Sunday.
We're ready for
And you were in
Last
the army.
Sunday was your birthday?
Yes, it was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You were in the army.
Oh, yeah. I was in General Patton's 3rd Army. We were with the U.S. Cavalry, 3rd Armored Cavalry.
And I bet you too have memories of what you saw that you'll never forget.
You know, for sure.
Well, I'm glad that you both are doing well. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I wish this would be true, what you just said.
French.
Here we go. We're on tape. Message to Italo. Got anything to tell him, Max?
Anything to tell it?
Do I have anything to tell him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Buonasera Italo, come va? Come va Carla?
Wonderful. Bob?
Hello, Italio. I hope this gets to you, and I look forward to seeing you sometime again. I remember the great days we had together.
I'll be there next year.
Wonderful.
All right.
Okay.
We were dug in the forest before Fort Bryant in France, and I went back to pick up the mail with the mail orderly, and we had to go around this way because at the fort they had everything pinpointed and they'd get you. And I went with him, and we picked up the mail, and about 2.5 hours later we were coming back, and the name of the mail orderly was, his last name was Smaltzy. We used to call him Smaltzy. And Smaltzy told me, he says, Jessy, you want to take a shortcut? We'll get back right away. And I said, yes. Let's get back over there. We wanted to get back. And he left those trees out of that forest, and he started going around, and all of a sudden they would start shooting some kind of shells at us, and they were landing behind us. And Smaltzy, I guess he started that speedometer goes only up to 60, but we were going past that speedometer. And we were going and going and going, and they must have dropped about 3 or 4 shots off of a 88 or whatever it was they were shooting at us. And going back into the forest, gladly that everything missed. Smaltzy hit a tree, and we both flew out of the Jeep. And that's a chance that we were all taking. And I said, yes, let's go that way. And we got out all right, but it's one of our little excursions in Europe. Thank you.
Your name again and 3rd Cavalry?
Yeah, my name is, it was a T4. I was a first radio operator for Colonel Wallach. And my name is Jessy Hidalgo. That's Hidalgo. And I live just outside of the city of Chicago in Beecher, Illinois.
All right.
Thank
you. And you and Bob are now friends.
Oh,
Friends.
we were brought up in the 3rd Cavalry with E Troop, and I knew how to ride them tanks just like Bob did. Then I was later sent to school.
For years, and Lieutenant Min.
They want to know more what happened. And you'll find this in the whole generations. It's that simple. The generations are the ones who differ. And it's usually the grandchildren or the great-grandchildren who will become interested in what happened in all these things back there. But the children who have grown up with you at home, they just as soon walk away from it.
No, but I didn't.
But you
Completely involved. So okay,
no,
but you
but
and
not, that's not quite right what you say, because none of your parents, except for your mother who wasn't very rebellious,
yes.
the rest were not.
I didn't know what kind of whiskey or beer or wine was, but I learned.
You know what I found interesting last week that I didn't sort of connect was that in you guys' youth, I mean, when you were 9, 10, 11 years old, It was the Great Depression.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
Oh, sure.
So it seemed like you had to have been so mature
We were
compared to most 20-year-olds these days.
exactly. Oh, sure.
Because life was hard, you worked, to survive, you had to work
That's
at
green, this
10,
stuff.
11 years old.
Yes, and I was born and raised in the south side of Chicago. And I remember the cold winters when I used to have to go out and look for wood or jump the fence over to the railroad yard and steal coal.
Yeah.
You know, to help at home or something like that. But oh yes, it's a different life altogether. Altogether different life.
And then Bob, you were on the farm.
Yeah, I was on a farm, and we cut wood. My dad and I used to cut wood for farms. But it was tough. We worked for, if you could find work, I know you could get $1 a day and
if that.
and your food and meals.
I used to work for the Windermere East Hotel, and that's on 55th and the Lake in the city of Chicago. And I used to get paid for busing after school for about 3.5 to 4 hours, and they'd give me 75 cents. And if I was lucky if I got another 50 cents off the waiters.
Yeah.
But things like that, it was altogether different. You had to work for everything. We were brought up in a different way than the kids today. Maybe we have all spoiled them.
You asked me about my friend.
I'm glad I had them, but at the same time, I don't know if they would take the learning that we did in the service like we had, because we were almost made for it because of the rough life in the early days.
And they didn't even know.
Well, being on a farm, you had to learn how to drive horses and tractors and equipment that we did have. And then when I got off the farm and got my first job in a factory, I remember starting for 32 cents an hour. That was in 1942. And about 6 months later, we got a big raise of 1.5 cents. It was 33.5 cents an hour.
What I was trying to say
We're lucky to get 40 hours in for work. So,
Was it any easier post-war, Bob, when you got back, or was it still a time there where...
It really, it was, jobs were they paid a little more then. Not a whole lot. A lot of guys coming back looking for work. And
Oh yes.
we flooded the market, so
But
to speak.
in the city of Chicago, there was plenty of work with the steel mills, Ford Motor Company, because I went to work for the Ford Motor Company, and I remember I used to get paid at the end of the week on Friday. We used to get paid in cash by bricks, and my check would amount to $51, $52 for the whole week. When I left Ford, I made more than that an hour. So it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference, yes. But there was work, and believe me, you know, bread was about 7 cents a loaf for a quart of milk, which they delivered in
There was no money. No, there was no money.
a glass bottle. Used to be 9, 10, 11 cents a quart. So there was a big difference in the money that you spent to eat and stuff.
Had to be because we just didn't have no money.
That's right.
The reason it was that cheap. Yes.
But it's a good life. And God bless America.
Did you have children?
Yes, wonderful life.
Yeah. How many children did you have?
I had 6 of my own, 4 boys and 2 girls. And my wife and I took 2 in from the Catholic Charities, and we brought them up just like our own.
Wow.
Wonderful. That's. I remember my wife getting on the bus. And, I don't know where she was going, but she had all them kids with her. And the bus driver seen them all get on the bus. He says, "Hey, are them all your children? Are you going on a picnic?" And my wife says, "They're all my children, and believe me, it's not a picnic."
Start. We're ready. Okay.
I'm Marlene Persinger, and I understand you want a little bit of my background.
Specifically for Italo, we're going to give him this tape.
Okay. I met Bob. I worked at a service station in Marengo. It's where we met. We were married and moved to Rockford in 1960. Before that, we had 3 children. Linda's the oldest, born in 1954. Peggy came along in 1956, and Alan in 1960. Been the pride and joy of our life since then, and just wonderful. They've now given us, Linda has Stephen, who is 14, and Jill, who is 11. Peggy has Nina, who is 14, and Marissa, who is 11. And Alan has Daniel, who will be 9 in a couple weeks, and Eric, who is just 4. So we really enjoy our grandchildren.
Wonderful.
I heard you say.
When they said, when they saw these arms and things lying around, they wanted to get back. They had enough. We were so used to all this. And he,
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because my mother wouldn't say anything like that.
and he would tell me, I can still smell what the camp stank like.
It's terrible.
And we can't smell this because we smell it every day.
Is your mother still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Where does she live?
She lives in Sao Paulo, Brazil. She was from Amsterdam, like
Oh, is that right?
like Max.
She's
yeah.
in Brazil.
She's in Brazil. My Albank, and he thought he had connections and tried to get Aryanized, wouldn't go into hiding because he didn't want to, endanger anyone. And they all.
How long was she in Buchenwald?
She was in Bergen-Belsen. She went to Westerbork, like you, and then on to Bergen. She was 2 years in Bergen-Belsen. It's amazing. I mean, she was a skeleton.
I'm sure.
I can only imagine. Yeah. And she woke up. She spoke English because her mother was born in Cape Town and in Kimberley. They were in the diamond. They had diamond mines, and they ended up in London. And so her mother was British, and then ended up in Amsterdam when she married my grandfather.
Talk about the wandering Jew, huh?
Yeah. So my mother spoke English. So when she awoke in an army bed, she was able to family know in London that he had found her.
I spoke that much English when I first talked to him.
Oh, I thought
my mother was.
I can remember him.
Huh?
I can remember you speaking English very clearly, you know.
To my mind, it was that much, but I became a sponge.
You do, yeah. My mother he was shocked because she was supposedly a British citizen, or should have been. How come she ended up in camp?
That's right, the British Army did liberate Bergen-Belsen.
Yeah, but I never met the sergeant. He kind of disappeared.
We got to get out of here before they lock us in for it.
Yes.
I'm walking out, and we